Hey guys, welcome back to Pete the Surfaroo. Got a really good story for you this time. Now, windsurfing, surfing, kite surfing. This is a bit about everything mixed together. I've got the man himself with this new invention, Mr. Vasco. Mate, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing, Pete?
Really good, mate. Now tell me, what is hydrofoiling and how is it different to other boarding sports?
Hydrofoiling is riding a hydroplane under the surface, literally. So you have a front wing and a back wing and a fuselage, so literally you're thinking about an airplane, but it lifts the board off the water and you ride that little contraption called the hydrofoil. Hey, hydrofoiling, it's very different to normal board riding. It's a board sport, but it's different from board riding. This is what a normal board looks like and what we normally kite surf or surf on. When you're in a hydrofoil, you instead of surfing and riding on this, you ride on this.
Just breathe. Another day.
Front wing, fuselage, back wing.
Another day. Staring at the ceiling.
So this is what is under the water. So literally this is an airplane and it follows the same dynamics as an airplane in the air. You put your weight forward, it moves down, you put your weight back and it moves up, and you ride with your toes in and out and direct the board however you go. So instead of riding on a big surfboard, you ride on a small set of wings.
Now, the changeover from windsurfing, kite surfing, because you're only on this fin, or hydrofoil as you call it, is it hard to get that balance?
Well, to start with, it is very hard. If you can think of the comparison that you can use for it, is you're riding a unicycle on a loose wire. So you also have the up and down motion as well. You play over 4 different axes. 1 axis, 2 axis, 3 axis, plus up and down in the kite. So you've got a lot to contend with, but once you learn to ride, it's like riding a bicycle. You ride it.
Must be a bit of a buzz being up so high above the water, mate, because you've got different heights in those fins too, some lower and some higher.
Yes, it is, and also because there is literally no noise. Every surfboard on the water has to displace the surface. Now, a hydrofoil doesn't displace anything. It literally flies under. So there is no noise. So you can be in absolute silence while you're riding, which is a little eerie to start with. But then you're riding on clouds. It's amazing.
What a buzz, mate. Now, is there a lot of people in the world doing this new sport?
They are now, yes. This started a while ago, but it didn't take off because the level of difficulty is very high to start with. And there's a few brands now making hydrofoils, and all of the big kite surfing brands suddenly took off and gone, oh my God, this is good, it's finally happening. So there's a few people now getting into it, and it's the big thing now, including racing. There's a component of it where you can race just like sailing.
Now, speeds, how fast can we go?
The world record, I think, at the moment is about 44 and a half knots.
That's pretty amazing stuff, mate. So, Vasco, how did you actually get started?
Well, this is a bit of a long story, but I'll cut it short. I was living in New Zealand. That's before I came to Australia. I've been here 11 years now. And I saw a movie called Step Into Liquid, which I mentioned before, where Laird Hamilton was riding big waves. So I thought, okay, he's being towed into waves on a hydrofoil, but why can't I kite surf and be my own towing, at the same time as I'm riding? No one was doing it then, and that was a vision that I had. But there was one little problem. I didn't kite surf. So I had to learn to kite surf. And then so I started on a normal twin tip, and then I moved on to surfboards. I came to the Gold Coast specifically for that, to be on waves. And then I wrote about 3.5 years ago, I wrote to about 5 brands that were making hydrofoils. And this guy in Puerto Rico from Lift Foils, Nicholas Leeson, replied back and said, yeah, we'll make anything you want. So my boards are custom made. They're hybrids. I can ride them as a surfboard. I can ride them as a kite surfboard. I can ride them as a hydrofoil. He makes them for me. And it's an amazing custom design. As you could see my board, everything on it is custom, including the paint job. And this is how I started. So it took me until 3.5 years ago to get into this. And then there's a learning process, because when I started on the Gold Coast, nobody was riding a hydrofoil. Nobody even knew what they were. So I went through a fairly long learning process and paid my dues with dozens and dozens and dozens of falls before I got my little flight. Once you get your little flight, it's like when you ski. You give your first turn on the snow and you're hooked for life. I was hooked for life. 3.5 years later, I'm riding the waves I want. This is how we go about it.
Vasco, that's persistence, mate. Keep at it, and you'll get it, guys. Now, Vasco, what other areas of board riding will get the hydrofoiling in there as well?
This has started with Laird Hamilton. Yeah, blame Laird. When he started riding big waves, being towed in on a surfboard with attached ski boots. Then that disappeared for a while. Now the simple surfers are riding, just paddling onto a wave themselves and lifting up and riding like a surf. They are surfing on a hydrofoil. And also, the other area that is just taking off is the stand-up paddlers. You can put a stand-up setup on a normal stand-up board, short board, and just ride it. You paddle onto a wave and lift up, and you keep riding, and you don't need the wave to break. You ride the swell. So, 0.5 meter wave, 1 foot waves, and you're riding for miles on this because there's no resistance, there's no displacement, so you can ride as you wish. This is just the start. There will be other avenues opening up, I'm sure. And this is going to, you heard it here first. There are electric hydrofoils coming up.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding. I've got one on order. It's coming. 1 hour riding, no wind, 0 wind, on a little remote trigger. It's amazing. That's the next step.
Lift is a hydrofoil brand. It builds flying toys.
What we're gonna do right here is go back.
The concept of putting a motor on a foil is really something that occurs over time. It's not something that just hits you. Then there's a moment where it really becomes a reality, like, hey, this is going to work really well, this is going to be cool, and we need to build this. Creation of a product and of a concept, that comes with time and a lot of input from all your peers.
You can't describe it. You're 100% flying, free, no noise. You have this endless feeling of hovering.
Now, the most exciting part, this sport can take you all around the world.
Yes.
Now, just tell the viewers some of these magnificent places that you've been to. They're just like a fantasy island.
I've kited all over Australia. I've kited in the Aitutaki, the Cook Islands, Aitutaki Lagoon. I've kited in Indonesia and Lombok and Sumbawa and quite a few other places. I'm planning a few trips to Fiji and any Pacific island. Basically, you can kite anywhere from about 10 knots wind up. And actually, there's people riding even less than that, which normal kite surfing doesn't allow, but hydrofoiling, it's bliss. Absolute bliss.
So maybe Chopu, mate, the big surfing land. Now, tell me, what's the biggest wave you have hydrofoiled?
Probably a good 8 to 10 foot, something like that in Sumbawa.
Mate, that is amazing.
It's scary. It's mind-blowing, but it's that thing. You know, and still, because hydrofoiling is so new, no one really has got onto wave riding as yet. So this is now being tried. The good wave riders, which possibly I'm not one of the best ambassadors of that, but there are massive wave riders out there, are now learning to hydrofoil and taking the hydrofoil to waves. So I can't wait for the future when these guys get barreled on a hydrofoil. That will be the ultimate goal. Oh my God.
Now, mate, I've been to Hawaii quite a few times, so Diamond Head
Yes.
would be a perfect place for it.
Yes, there's lots of hydrofoilers in Diamond Head. There's Maui is an amazing place.
Now, mate, last but most important for all those viewers out there, they're going, wow, this is hot, man. How do I get into it?
You need to learn to hydrofoil first, get a beginner version, get something maybe aluminium or slightly cheaper brands. Cabringa's got one, F1, Liquid Force, North. All of these big brands are now bringing cheaper versions that you can get into. And then later on you progress to a fully carbon foil, which is what I ride. I've got a carbon board, carbon mast, carbon fuselage and wings and all that, because it's less give and it's more rigid and it's beautiful. And you can get any length mast. You start with a short mast and then you progress to bigger ones as you ride bigger waves. And the world's your oyster. Take it any way you want. You either go racing, or you go flat water riding, or you go wave riding. This is just the beginning. The possibilities are endless.
Mate, sounds good. I know you're busy. He's ready to go out the back here. Bit of wave pumping through here at Palm Beach on the Gold Coast. Good luck to you, Vasco, out there, mate. Great speaking to you, mate. Another
Absolute
new
pleasure.
sport here for the Aussies going off. Pete the Surfaroo, Vasco. We'll see you shortly. Yeah. Woo!
Oh.